You're watching The Source COVID-19 Niagara update. Joining me on the line right now, Frances Hallworth from the United Way Niagara. Frances, welcome.
Oh, thank you, Mike. I'm very happy to be speaking with you this morning.
Frances, the Canadian government announcing a number of different financial aid packages to help Canadians in this time of need. I believe we're looking at about $96 million when we put it all together. But there's a lot of concern from a lot of people. You know, how do I access some of this money? How do I access the EI funds, for instance, and get that EI much earlier? You've created something called the Emergency Response Fund. Can you tell us how that came about?
Yes. So I have a number of concerns why I am very excited about some of the increased benefits through EI. There will be a delay in people getting those benefits. And many people who are working for a low wage, they don't have the resources to be able to sustain themselves for weeks while they're waiting. So we were trying to gear up to help people that are in an emergency situation right now and could be in 3 weeks or 2 months from now, because none of us know how long this is going to last. So we tried to look at what could we do as a United Way to help our community. And while we're doing a number of things, the one that you may have noticed is the emergency fund. And we are simplifying all processes so people can, or organizations can call in, and we can look at what their needs are and very quickly be able to make decisions to help them with that.
So can I get an example of how this might work? So for instance, you mentioned organizations are calling in to the United Way to access emergency response funds. Can you give us an example of how this might work and what an organization might be that would need some of these funds?
Right. So right now we are tracking 60 organizations, figuring out who's closed and who needs what. So we are just in the process of that right now. But what we are preparing for is an organization that was at one time perhaps providing a lunch or a dinner. Well, they now can't do that. So they may have to go to a more expensive means of getting food to people, more prepared foods. So we want to be able to help them to continue to serve all of their clients, even if it's going to cost a bit more. So we're prepared for that. We're also prepared should food banks need more of something. And so if food banks become, and we already know that there's increased traffic to all of the food banks, we want to be able to help them. But what many people don't know is that you may think of a few local food banks. There are actually 100 organizations who give out food across Niagara. And about a year ago, we brought them all together, and we now have the Niagara Food Security Network. We are working with all 100 of those to make sure that we're optimizing everything that we can.
100 agencies handing out food. That's something that I didn't know for sure.
Yes, well, when you think about, there are many churches who have been doing this for years, but they just do it very quietly. If you just think about all the shelters giving out food, food banks, there's like lunch programs, dinner programs, weekend programs, after school snack programs. It's phenomenal, the number of organizations and informal groups that are out there giving help to our community.
Besides the Emergency Response Fund, what else is United Way doing in this crisis?
Well, right now we're trying to track what every one of our agencies are doing to see if there's anything that we could do to help with coordination. So many of our agencies are having to adapt their services very, very quickly. And you may have seen Meals on Wheels. There was a story about Meals on Wheels and how they had to very quickly change how they deliver their service to people.
Donations, can they be made to this Emergency Response Fund, and how?
Yes. So if you were to go to our website, you would see the opportunity to donate there. You can also call into our regular business line, which we are still answering, if you would rather speak to someone to make your donation. And of course, you can always mail in a donation.
And are you also accepting corporate donations, corporate sponsorship for this program?
Yes, we are. We definitely are. And we hope to be able to give more news about where the fund is and how we're using it so people can see how their dollars are being used, because every dollar from this fund is going directly back to the community.
Thank you very much for your time today, Frances, and good luck with the Emergency Response Fund.
Oh, and thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thanks for joining us.